Man, remember when I said I was going to do this series weekly? Well, oops. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Speedrun Diaries. So you might notice there's been a little bit of a pause in between episodes on this weekly series, and that's been for a couple of reasons. It took a little bit longer than I expected to get on the leaderboards with my run. Like, they weren't accepting it, but they weren't really saying anything, so I was getting a little bit worried, and I was thinking, oh, is this game a little bit more dead than I expected? So a guy who is within the community saw my video, and he updated the leaderboards. So now, I guess my quest to be in first place succeeded, because I'm the only one on the leaderboards anymore. Because the old runs were based on older updates, where it took a little bit less time to complete the game. So there was no way I was going to be able to cut it down as much as I did. So that makes a lot of sense now that I'm thinking about it, because I had put in probably around 20 hours into speedrunning this game. And I had 6 minutes to cut down, which is like a crazy amount of time if the time I have is 10 minutes. So now I'm first place because I'm the only one on the board, but he assured me he's going to start submitting some runs, and he's going to reach out to another runner within the community to give me some competition so that I'm not the only one running this and I can continue making this mini-series. So a big shout out to him. I'll be linking his Twitter in the description if you want to check him out. He's a really cool guy so far. I'm in talks with him. He might appear on this series later on, but we'll have to see where that goes so far. So that is a big reason why it took me so long to get this up, and I am here now though, so I'm going to chat about what I've been doing differently in my runs. So I've been running the game a little bit more, and I've been able to take off 6 seconds from my previous time. That is not a lot. That is a really short amount of time, and I need to be taking off more, and I found the source of most of my frustration, and that's the final boss. The final boss is a lot different from any of the other bosses you see within the entire game. His room is extremely open. You have to go through a whole maze basically to even get to him, and he runs away from you a lot and doesn't really attack you directly but uses the environment. So to go in, you have to be very lucky, because you have to be able to move pretty fast. You also have to have really high health, so you have to get a lot of max HP containers throughout to even get far enough to make it there, and then you'll lose about 20 to 30 HP depending on how good your run is, and depending on how good your luck is within the run itself. One thing I'm really trying to do, which is the element I can control, is what weapon I'm going to use. I have not found the perfect weapon for it yet. I used the short-range blade up until the very end, and that works great at melting through the bosses, but it's really difficult to get any hits in on him, and I think it takes about a minute longer than it needs to. So I'm going to start experimenting with different weapons. Today, the thing I was working with was the large axe, which swings really slow, but does crazy high amounts of damage, and I think that might be my solution. So I'm going to be experimenting with that a little bit more, but we're going to have to see what happens. I'm trying to figure out how to circumvent the need for going up the platforms to even get next to his head to hit him, and I think that I'm going to find that within the hover boots that allow you to fly for a second. So coupling that with some jump height might get me far enough up there that I can actually do some damage to him. So we're going to have to see where that goes, but that's really what I've been focusing the most on recently. I'm also working on setting up a spreadsheet where I order and I outline the bosses and what order is the best way to do them in, and I'm going to categorize them within 3 tiers. I'm going to have tier 1, which are the ones you want to complete as soon as possible, because whenever you complete a boss you have an option to pick from 3 more bosses, so you can choose. So I'm going to figure out which ones you want to get early on, because the later you do a boss, things get harder about them, but they aren't always harder equally. So then I'm going to have that second tier, which is like, oh yeah, you should complete them like whenever you can. And then that third tier, which is just put them at the end, because they're really easy to melt through. I'm also going to be outlining the essential items for each run. I am focusing my runs on attack damage. I'm not wasting my time with any of the powers. I'm only picking up stuff so I can do the most damage possible with one swing. I might be trying to change that up a little bit and go with like more power focused runs later on, but we're kind of going to have to see. So I've sort of reached a research and development phase within my runs. I'm trying to figure out what works best for each boss, because the powers might work for the beginning bosses. There are some things that are really, really weak and really, really strong against the various bosses. So if I can get the right powers and then go straight to them, I might be able to melt through them very quickly, but that relies on having a little bit of luck in my ordering. So I really have to make sure I get good orders. I'm talking currently with them about changing some of the rules of the run to make it a little bit more of a skill-based run and removing some of the RNG aspects, but we're going to see what happens with that. I'm not totally sold that that's the best idea, even though it's the one I came up with. So I'm still going to be sort of talking about that with them and seeing where that goes, but that's sort of where I'm at right now. I'm researching what best to do to beat that final boss, because he is really where all of the struggles are coming from. I find most of my trouble there. That's where I'll die if I die in the run. That's where I'll lose like 4 minutes if I lose that much time in the run. And that's really the sort of epicenter of all of my troubles within the run. So I'm going to be trying to optimize that a lot, and that is really going to be my focus for the next couple of days. I'm starting to get a little bit busier with life stuff. You might see I'm not posting as many articles as I used to. I'm not putting up as many videos as I used to and stuff like that. It's because I've got work starting and school starting up soon, so I don't really have as much time as I used to, but I'm really going to try to get some stuff in for this, because I really want to help make speedrunning more accessible for people. Even though I'm not really good at it, I want everyone to be able to sort of learn it. So if you're thinking about getting into speedrunning, you should absolutely start trying with 20XX and coming with me, and we can sort of learn together. I'm working on setting up maybe a Discord server so we can do some discussion and sort of helping each other out, but I'll sort of figure that out as it comes along. So that's sort of my update for now, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!